Alrighty, what do we have here? Today we are unboxing. We are unboxing Duo. This is 64 audio. No, I'm not a professional unboxer, although depending on when you're watching this, I might be. Currently, I am just a meager employee of 64 audio, but you know, this might blow up. So this is Duo. So Duo is 64 Audio's newest in-ear monitor, newest universal in-ear monitor. 2 drivers, and it kind of falls in the line of Forte, Trio, and you can kind of guess where that Duo name came from. 4, 3, 2. Fully tubeless design, just like Forte and Trio. Forte was the original, Trio came next, Duo. It is priced at $11.99. So currently it is a lower price IEM for 64 audio. Now I know that is not a relatively true statement. It is not a relatively low cost IEM in general, but in our lineup currently, it is the most affordable IEM that we produce. And that's one thing you will probably have noticed from 64 audio in the last few years is us making our way down. We designed something that is awesome. We love it. It works in 18 drivers, for example, and it works in the Forte. And then we learned to make it in a Trio and a U12T and an A12T. And then it spills on through all the way down to the 4 driver and 2 driver and so on. And so, again, this is where we are with Duo. Trying to get that fully tubeless design and that signature 64 audio vibe to the most affordable version that we could have made for you guys, Duo. But you know, this really is something entirely different, and you'll see why. Right off the bat, you notice that it's that classic 64 audio look where it is straight black, matte finish, and then that glossy, what we call a hero shot right here. Boom, it's beautiful. And these are actually photographs. One thing that some people may have wondered is, are the shots on the box photographs or renders? These are all photographs done in-house. Awesome team. On the back, another thing that we have started to do is simplify it a little bit and just kind of give you an inside look as to what is in Duo. You know, breaking it apart, we call this the, what do we call this?
Wireframe.
Yeah, wireframe. We call it wireframe, the exploded wireframe view. There we go. Some of it, you notice that we kind of went into a little bit more detail. The parts of the in-ear that are a little bit more spacious, we show a little bit more of the lines. Some of it are a little bit more filled in, but that's essentially everything that is in Duo. So you have the shell, which is what we're really known for in the universal world, this shape. The dynamic driver, the manifold for the dynamic driver, the TIA driver, and then this is actually really cool. This is the one place where you see the faceplate that's actually kind of shows you exactly how it's made. It's kind of a marvel in the design of Duo is the faceplate. It's this 3-piece, if you kind of see it, it's this 3-piece thing that took quite a bit of engineering to achieve, but we're really happy with it, and you'll see why once we open it up. And then if you want to learn more, this QR code takes you directly to the Duo's page. So if you're at a store, you're looking at them, you want to know a little bit more. We didn't want to cloud the whole box with all that information. We just wanted it to be kind of striking. You just scan the QR code, it'll take you to the Duo page and give you all the necessary information. And yeah, another interesting thing about Duo specifically, and it kind of says it right on the packaging, is Apex Core and WaveSync, along with TIA and Lid, which is also a technology exclusive to us, both of them. Apex core is kind of the way we dubbed our semi-open back, fully open front design. That's really what it is. Apex is a patented technology that we employ in all of our products, whether it's internal or whether it's through a module. Apex core is a play on that. I mean, it's a step further, actually. It's more Apex. Apex to the core, Apex core. And you kind of notice, if you really look at the design, it's kind of cool. It's kind of an infinity between the C and the O, and it's a little bit of a stippled gradient type of thing. And then wave sync. Wave sync is actually kind of straightforward. Even though it sounds kind of markety and gimmicky, it actually really is wave sync. It is a type of all-pass filter that we used in the Duo, and because the crossover is so high between the two drivers, placement is very important. Typically, placement within an in-ear monitor system isn't as important because those waves are actually fairly long. The cycle of the wave is fairly long. But when you get up to the high frequencies, they, depending on where you're crossing over your drivers, they can interfere with each other and create cancellation or summation where you don't want it. And rather, we wanted to get the dynamic driver as close as possible. And you'll notice when you listen to Duo how big the bass is, and a lot of that has to do with how close in proximity that driver is. We wanted to get it as close as possible, but to achieve the proper summation at the crossover point, we used a type of all-pass filter. And an all-pass filter is essentially a crossover filter that accounts for time. You can read up on it yourselves, but it is really cool. We believe it's an industry first. I think it is, but that is wave sync. And you really notice it. You really notice it in the cohesion, in the kind of how the whole system works together without any sort of missing energy. And you know, a lot of time people say they can hear crossover issues and they can hear phase issues, and that's debatable, but we know what the whole thing sounds like, and it feels right, it feels succinct. So yeah, that is the package. There you go. There are angels like, oh. All right. Can't really tell what is on there, but as you notice, again, classic 64 audio, simple, clean. Keep the packaging, audiophiles, really big on keeping packaging. Now, the one cool thing about our boxes, and it's a very kind of satisfying thing to do as you're just kind of sitting around and instead of twiddling your thumbs, this magnet. It's like the AirPods case, kind of snaps open and closed. Very satisfying little open, a little snap. So here we go. There we are. And for that view, close it back up, give you an idea of the snap, that little, very nice. I'll probably show that in every video because it feels good. All right. Move this out a little bit. Boom. Duo. Now, in all of our packaging, there is a message from our founder and CEO, Vitaly. And he really is the kind of final ear on all of our products. So seeing his name and his message here is kind of appropriate because he really did make sure that this was sounding the way that it was supposed to sound. Not every unit, mind you, but the design of the golden sample, we call it. So right away, we have the custom foam insert, which keeps everything nice and secure. And you could actually use this as a carrying case if you so chose, because these are nicely cut out for the in-ears themselves. But they're fairly tight, so that might not be something that you want to do on the go. So you have the ears, the case. Jump cut, jump cut, jump cut. All right, let's start with the case. Put these to the side. Whoa, it's kind of cool if you set it down at like, interesting, science. This is our premium leather case. Now, it is imitation leather. Don't get upset by that. It's very hard to make real leather beautiful and uniform. So this is imitation leather, but it is nice. It feels nice. It actually smells like leather. It is nice. It is nice and clean. Everything is very well stitched, and it will protect your ears. So right away, we see this Spider-Man themed tip holder. Just kidding, it's not Spider-Man themed. It's kind of a running joke internally, but it's pretty awesome. All right, tip holder, bam. Look at that. So based on the feedback we get from customers, we have decided to add one tip to the lineup. Traditionally, we have offered what we call our True Fidelity foam tips. These are, from what I understand, exclusively made for us. And it's a type of foam where it's not like the Comply foam where you squeeze it and kind of takes a while to open back up. It's a little bit faster feedback. And what we like about that is you can just kind of push them into the ear, and you don't have to like squeeze it, put them in, wait for it to expand. You kind of just push them in and they sit in place. And another great thing about this foam is we feel like it really helps alleviate some of the kind of resonant peaks that you might get with certain tips, since the nozzle of the tip goes slightly over the end of the in-ear monitor, and you'll see that when I put them on. But it's a really great, comfortable, True Fidelity foam tip. The wide bore rubber tip, again, something that is talked about, I guess, in the audiophile sphere as our kind of weird little foam tips, but it is important. They are not just made that way on accident. These, I feel like, give you probably the most accurate frequency response, at least accurate being how we intended them to sound. And then we have a really popular tip option for people who are very familiar with spin fit. I think they call them spin fit because this part right here kind of moves around independently of the outer part. Really nice, really comfortable, also sound great. Yeah, I think everybody's familiar with the spin fit stuff. And then in a little baggie, you have a couple things that are also very nice to have. The shirt clip. Shirt clip, although traditionally used in pro audio environments, live sound, live performance, to just keep them from getting snatched off. They are very nice if you are just listening in a, personal environment, audiophile type of thing, because it helps with microphonics. Now, microphonics are hearing your cable. It's not an esoteric kind of, snake oil thing. It really is just the physical reaction of the cable being touched and you hearing that movement. Clipping the cable to your shirt or whatever you're wearing, it makes it difficult if you're not wearing anything on top, so heed that. But clipping it here and giving yourself a little bit of slack right around the ear will help with that microphonics, because it kind of decouples the cable from itself in a way, so that if you're holding your cable and you kind of touch it down here, you touch it somewhere else, you're not going to hear that motion because it's kind of decoupled here, and I'll show you that later. So the shirt clip, and then the cleaning tool. The cleaning tool is the all-powerful, almighty little cleaning tool. And this will help preserve your ears for many, many years. This little guy is really what stands in between your in-ears having to have service every year or so and being able to use them for a decade. We have plenty of people who still have custom in-ear monitors from us made by 1964 ears back in 2010, 2011, because they put this little guy to use this little guy. after every time. Put this over here. Oh, and this, the most important part. A sticker to put on your Pelican case or to put on your car or on your face or keep with the packaging because you want it to all be original when you resell it. Either way, that also comes with it. So back to this. Oh, by the way, this is merch plug. Swell bottle, engraved. All right, so to the goods. Hear, feel, create. This, we scoot it out of the package, is how the cable is being held, which is kind of clever. That's a new feature of our cables, but this is our new cable. This is something we have introduced. It's kind of cool, see it just wraps around this little piece. This is something we introduced with U6T a few months ago. It's been really great. It's a lot softer of a cable, still silver-plated copper. It is actually one of the lowest impedances of our cables. We kind of keep getting lower and lower, and that's really one of the big specs that you're looking for in a cable. That's one thing that does make a measurable difference, is how resistive it is. It's kind of cool. It's branded on the bifurcation and branded on the 3.5 millimeter side. The jack has a little sleeve. Great little cable. Yeah, I really like it. It feels soft. It has a lot lower microphonics than our previous premium cable, which is still shipping with our products and it's still great. And we'll go into that with the other ones, but this is the new cable and we really like it. Boom, there we have it. Duo. Yeah, this is a great looking IEM. This design has been kind of floating around the building for a couple years now. This open back look, and you can see, you'll see in the packaging, you'll see in all the product photos. There's a faceplate, which is this grill, and it's an anodized aluminum, which is the same as the shell. And you notice how that piece connects to the faceplate almost seamlessly, other than the color change. It is a very, very satisfyingly close connection with those two. And that's something that, oddly enough, we worked on very, very hard. This is a 6063 aluminum. It is milled out of a solid piece of aluminum, just like all of our shells are. And then the faceplate, the next piece of it is the grill. Now the grill is not aluminum, the grill is stainless steel 304 polished. So 304 stainless steel, I don't know exactly what that is, but it is a physical vapor deposition, PVD, if anyone's familiar. PVD for that black color. So the anodized aluminum shell, anodized aluminum faceplate grill, that's the first step of the faceplate. And then the mesh is a PVD coated stainless steel, and then the bezel, which secures the mesh onto the faceplate, is also a stainless steel. Usually there's a serial number and model name on the inside of these, but since this is a in-house unit, lacks that. Just to kind of give you an idea of what they look like when they're out of the ear with the different tips. So that is the wide bore silicone tip, and as you see, they go right down to where the canal stops, and that will give us the most accurate response. That's a lot of times how we test them, is not having that extra little horn that's created when the tips are a little bit pulled off, which kind of shifts the high frequency peaks a little bit. And with the foam tip, that is actually, even though there is a bit of that horn, it is mitigated due to the soft material, and that's really why we chose the specific materials, because they sounded the most like those wide bore silicone tips. And then the spin fits, which I actually prefer. They do sound slightly different than the wide bore nozzle ones, but they, at least to me, they go into the ear a little bit easier and more consistently. So here it is. There you go. And if you're familiar with 64 audio products, you're familiar with kind of how they feel when you put them on in general. Because of Apex, you get a lot less of that like underwater feeling, that built up pressure. And then with Duo, it's a step beyond that. Because of Apex Core, you feel that much more connected to the space around you. It is a bit lower isolation, 12 dB compared to 20 in some of our others, 15 in some of our others. But just to rattle off some specs, 12 dB of isolation, 9 ohm impedance total, so that's with the cable and everything. Sensitivity is 98 decibels per milliwatt. Just kind of generally the frequency response is between 20 and 20 hertz, 20K. Here I wanted to kind of give you an idea what I was talking about with the microphonics and the cable. You give a little bit of slack with this little clip, and anything you do with this end of the cable, you're not going to be hearing those microphonics. We use the Dragonfly a lot here. This is the Cobalt. And if you see us at some trade shows, you'll see a lot of these. Thanks. Shout out to AudioQuest. Sound-wise, they feel like a 64 audio IEM. The mid-range is very musical, very realistic. The highs are kind of what you would expect from a TIA driver. Super long extension without the kind of fatiguing peakiness of balanced armatures and tubes. So the reason why we focus so much on the messaging of the low frequencies is that they're not necessarily a super bassy in-ear monitor. They do have awesome bass, and that dynamic driver, its proximity to the hearing system makes a huge difference. And the reason why it's technically semi-open back is because you can kind of see in the manifolds here that we do control the volume of the air volume of the rear of the driver slightly in order to be able to tune the ears the way we want them. And one of the really big things I took away from this kind of coming from experience of listening to open back headphones so much is the center imaging is spot on right here. Not only do you get that feeling of open back, which we were going for, you get that center imaging that you normally lack in an open back system. And again, technically speaking, what Apex Core is something that is neither open back nor semi-open back from our perspective. Not only do they feel like an open back, they look like an open back, and that is because it is open to the entire shell, that faceplate. It is not for looks. That really does mean that the air is flowing from the shell. That's what we were going for. The feeling, the experience of an open back headphone, open back earphone with the intimacy and the imaging of an in-ear monitor. So go get one, experience it for yourself. They feel great, they sound amazing. And you know, it is a way to get into that 64 audio sound at the lowest price ever. So yeah, go get one.